Hey guys, Natalie here. So right now I'm at my mom's house and I'm currently sitting in my sister's room. She's attempting to be as annoying as possible. Okay, not as annoying as possible, but somewhat annoying. Today I'm going to talk about my best friend. So my best friend is Clay, and I talked about him in my last video a little bit. Anyway, so my best friend is Clay, and I'll probably insert a lovely montage of pictures right about now. So I met Clay in 7th grade, and it had happened because I had met a girl. She was in my English class, and I decided to start sitting with her at lunch. Well, she sat with this guy. Big guy, really out there. He was really out there. And I sat next to him, and we just talked and talked and talked and talked and talked, and we just sat with each other at lunch. We never really talked outside of lunch. Well, my friend had decided that Clay had a crush on her, which ended up being a big joke. It's a big joke between me and Clay now. Well, he came out as gay in freshman year of high school, and I think it's the funniest thing ever, considering all of middle school he was the straightest person out there. We would try so hard to get him to tell us he was gay. It was just like, are you gay? Just, are you gay? And he was just so adamant about being this straight guy. Well, in middle school was when I had started writing sexual stuff. And so he read some of it. Well, it was gay, obviously, because that's what I write. And he decided there was something weird because he really liked it. Like, he was into that story. Well, freshman year, we joined theater together. We did technical theater, which ended up being great. We were stagehands, and we just did like a bunch of work together. And he's still in the theater program while I'm not. But we'd gone to a construction fair, which is pretty much where we go and we get to mess with like heavy duty machines like cranes and military equipment and fire hoses and just pretty much really cool stuff, and it helps you to identify with a possible career in the larger, higher paying aspect of life. And well, while we were there, a bunch of us had just decided, screw this, we're warm, it's like 100 degrees out, and we sat down off to the side. Well, Clay mentioned something about being gay, and I kind of flipped. I looked at him and I was like, excuse me? He had come out to everybody but me, and at this point, me and Clay claimed to be each other's best friends, and it was the most horrific moment in our friendship because I was so surprised because he had convinced me with all of his heart that he was a straight man, and I was so upset with myself for believing him. Well, so that just kind of went over and we were all good, and then went through the rest of freshman year and it was all chill. And after he came out, he became so flamboyant. He dyed his hair billions of different colors. He became more confident in himself, and he just was a great guy. He was my best friend to this day. I don't think I'll ever get rid of him, honestly. Well then, sophomore year, we were still in theater together, and this was great. It was like the best thing ever. We would go to the theater early in the morning on the weekends, and we would stay there until late at night working, putting stuff together. I usually worked in costumes. It was just kind of my area. I was costumes master actually that year, and he had ended up being house manager. So pretty much he worked in the front. He was the one who gave people their tickets and took their money and showed them their seats, and pretty much he's the leader of that group. Well, I helped to costume everybody, and I helped with hair, and it was a fun experience, and I kind of wish I hadn't left, but at the same time I'm glad I left. There's another story behind that. But he always had brought these goldfish, just like this little crackers, the cheesy ones that were so good. Well, he would bring them because that would be his munch while we work kind of situation. Well, I never brought anything, so I would go to him and I would steal his goldfish. Well, eventually this turned into him stopping bringing goldfish, and he would now make food and bring it for both of us. So like, he would make a sandwich, but he would also make me a sandwich and bring it. Well, sometimes I would do that as well. So like, I would make him a sandwich and bring it for him along with myself. So we just kind of swap back and forth, and that's just kind of how our friendship ended up being. And it was a great situation, and I think that kind of helped build our friendship a little more. And then we decided to join Science Olympiad. Junior year, so last fall, we decided to join Science Olympiad, and I was doing a different program. I was doing Running Start, which is a program where they throw high school students into a college setting so they can get their associate's degree along with their high school diploma. And it's taking up time and it's like two birds with one stone. It's a really cool concept. Well, so I was going to the college that's in town, LCC, while he was staying over at the high school most of the day. And I would go back at the end of the day and we would go to Science Olympiad together. And this is great. Science Olympiad could double as our LGBTQ group. We do have one at our school. However, this group is literally our science club is so full of homosexuals that it's ridiculous. But it's a great club, and we just love going. Well, every once in a while we do camping trips. So we take a camping trip in October and we take a camping trip in June. This was based off of mine and Clay's idea to do a camping trip because we just wanted to go out in the woods and screw around with this group of people who we absolutely loved. Well, so in October we go. Well, October of our junior year, we went to this camping trip, and it ended up being great. Clay had brought a tent, I hadn't. Neither of us planned on sleeping. Well, we had sat down in his tent, which was huge, and there was probably about 10 other people in that tent. He was like, let's play Truth or Dare, because we were 5, obviously. And we're sitting there playing Truth or Dare, and he was dared to stick his butt out the tent and moon everybody who was out there, including our 2 chaperones who are our teachers and the club leaders. Well, yeah, he did it. He was so happy about it. This was like the greatest experience for him. He was dying of laughter after that moment. This game of Truth or Dare also ended up with him kissing every single person in the tent. He's very open. He doesn't give a crap. He will kiss whoever is willing to kiss him. Just how he is. So yes, I've kissed my best friend. Who cares? Well, that camping trip ended with so much. There was just so much in it. It was so much fun. We loved it. And then, well, we all went home, and days passed, 'cause life. Our first camping trip was in Tootle. Our second camping trip, we drove out to Long Beach, which is pretty much the beach here in Washington. Like, it runs pretty much all the way down the coast. And we stayed in, it was more the Astoria area, so we all stayed out there. One of our friends had told us that there's a state monument down the road, just a little ways, like 1/4 of a mile. Cool, we can walk that in like 5 minutes. Not even. And so the whole group gets up and we all go to walk to this monument to go look at it. It was like some old military bunker. Well, she was wrong, and she took us the long way, which took us an hour to walk, and it was miserable. So we get there finally, and turns out we weren't supposed to be there. It was illegal, and they were also holding a reenactment of those days back when the bunker was in use. Well, so to say the least, we didn't get to go and mess around on the monument, so the walk was a complete waste of time. And then on the walk back, we We're so dead. Clay rolled down. We had to walk down like 50 different hills, which we didn't have to walk up on the way there. Don't know what happened with that, but we had to walk down like 50 different hills, and Clay just decided to lay down and roll along with like 4 other kids. However, like a bunch of them were just rolling down these hills. But he also had like a glow stick and a water bottle, and the group had ended up super spread out because he had decided to like go all the way into the back because he decided he had to take a crap. So he went into the woods and took a crap in the woods. I was horrified. He ended up at the very back of the pack, but somehow he ended up back at the front really quickly. I don't know how he did that. He didn't run. He was walking slower than me, I swear to it. But he ended up back at the front. And he had a glow stick and a water bottle. He put the glow stick in the water bottle and then just left it in the middle of the road in Astoria. And we were like, what are you doing? He's like, it was to tell you where we're going. And that was just a great night, obviously. We were miserable by the time we got back to camp. All of us were just like, our legs hurt. It's cold. We just want to be done with this. That camping trip is actually one of the biggest jokes in our group, and I love it. And to explain what our friendship is like, we do not hang out very often outside of school. So like we have lunch together at school still to this day. It's been like 5-6 years, and we still have lunch together at school every day. Well, he is one of those people who like won't come over to hang out because he wants to sleep. Anyways, pisses me off to no extent. He called me and wanted to hang out one day, but I was in Idaho, which is several hundred miles away. So he calls me, he's like, hey, what are you doing? You want to hang out? And I'm like, Clay, I'm in another state. That ended up with a great conversation. That ended in him being mad at me for being out of state, and he wanted me to come home and hang out with him. I was 8 hours away. It was great. So then that was the end of junior year, and this year, senior year, we're finally gonna graduate well, I'm gonna graduate this year. We went back to our October camping trip with SOC, with our Science Olympiad group, and this one ended up being a little bit of experience for him, and for me too. We stayed in Tootle again. It decided it was going to pour like no tomorrow. There was so much rain falling from the sky, I could have swam in it. Well, my friend Kian and his girlfriend at the time, we're just all friends now. Well, they had driven up in Kian's mom's car because Kian had stayed at his girlfriend's house to go to a funeral. Well, we all decided, me, Kian, Clay, and Kian's ex, we all decided to climb into the back of this car to get out of the rain. It was going so bad. And we just kind of left one of the teachers sitting in the pouring rain by herself. And we felt super bad, but you know, we were dry, so we were all good. And we were warm. It was so warm in that car. Well, the rain just ended up a complete mess. Me and Clay ended up putting a tarp on the ground, the wet ground, as it's pouring down rain. We didn't want to sleep, but we also we wanted to be warm, and we wanted to just kind of hang out. But we didn't want to go inside anywhere, and we weren't allowed in a tent together because he's a boy and I'm a girl, even though he's a flamboyantly gay man. Well, we grabbed a tarp and set it on the ground, put ourselves in our sleep bags and pulled a tarp over us, and then we just sat there listening to music, hanging out, and chatting in the pouring down rain in the middle of Tootle in the middle of October. It was, to say the least, it was actually a memory. It's a great memory, and I enjoyed it quite a lot. And then most of you guys know probably the pregnancy story. He is still insistent that I am pregnant. He has seen the last video, and he as I said, is thriving off of it. He thinks it's the funniest thing ever. But yeah. Alright guys, so if you liked the video, please hit subscribe, and I'll see y'all later. Bye. I'm so awkward at me. My mom's downstairs arguing with my little sister about putting on more coats so she can walk across the street. But Nene, use the headphones.
No, this is my bedroom.
Please use the headphones.
No.
I wouldn't do this to you.
Yes, you would.
No, I wouldn't.
This is my bedroom.
I wouldn't do this to you.